This is the Outdoor Journey Show, where life takes you outdoors. The Outdoor Journey Show with Matt Gaddis and Ty Morgan, brought to you by Journey Hunts and the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
Matt Gaddis and Ty Morgan in studio today with the Outdoor Journey Show, where life takes you outdoors. You know, Ty, a few weeks back, we had Armin Jordan in the studio with us.
Yeah.
First-time hunter, getting excited about taking on and learning about hunting. And if you remember, he was really interested in, really at the heart of everything, he wanted to put some good table fare on his table for his family.
And that's, I think, a lot of people, until you become, I don't want to say bored with hunting, but you get so advanced in hunting that then you start doing that trophy hunts. And I was raised that way. It was about the meat and making sure that it had enough and you could feed the family for the winter.
Oh, no doubt. In fact, for the last probably, I would say 13, 14 years, I mean, it's a serious deal for my family. I have 3 kids and my wife, so we're a family of 5, and we provide through our hunting meat all year round.
Yeah.
It's very rare, except when I just want a beefsteak, it's very rare that I buy any beef at all.
Exactly. Well, and I think, too, a lot of people don't realize it's much leaner. It's better for you because of where nothing introduced into their bodies other than natural habitat.
That's right. And that was Armin's real concern. And so I think part of the thing that we need to talk about here, because we're talking to outdoorsmen and outdoors women who are out there doing it, just like we are, and they're out there hunting. And one of the things that you talk about is field preparation and even post-field preparation. And we'll differentiate between those two as we go on today once you've harvested an animal. But I hear people talk all the time about, I don't want to eat deer or I don't want to eat elk because it's gamey. Yep, yeah. There you go. So have you heard people say that also? Have you heard that?
I think you hear it a lot, and it's like almost like they're afraid to try something, or maybe somebody prepared it wrong. I've never ran into that. I can't tell you. There's no such thing as you have to have an acquired taste for deer or elk. It has such a flavor that it's really not much different than beef, in my opinion. I mean, that's my personal view.
Right, and I've had both. I've had whitetail, mule deer, antelope that have been gamey, and then I've had some that has tasted absolutely spectacular. So I think what we need to tell our listeners is what's the difference to get that great protein, non-tainted protein into your family without it tasting gamey. And I believe it all comes down to what happens once you shoot that animal.
Right.
I really do.
Preparation.
It is. It's preparation. What's that care for your game once it hits the ground? I think we get excited about the harvest part, but the reason this is the Outdoor Journey Show and the reason my hunting business is Journey Hunts, because the whole journey is what it's about. It's not just the kill. It's not just the harvest. It's what you do before to prepare. We talk about it all the time.
Right.
It's what you do afterwards, in caring for your game. And that's what we're going to focus on right now. I think it starts in the field with keeping your game clean and not letting it get tainted by the entrails or the outer hair, the outer hide. You got to keep the dirt off of it.
Right.
I've been in the field with guys and I've watched them care for their game. And I've been like, my goodness, are you kidding me? I mean, what they end up taking out is a dirt covered, hair covered, entrail covered chunk of meat that I'm just like, how in the world do you think that's going to taste good?
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It just doesn't taste good.
Well, it's taken that time to get it done right the first time. We always carried water. We always made sure that you had plenty of the elements to make sure. And I understand if it's killed towards the end of the day, that tends to put a little bit of stress on the situation because you tend to hurry to try to get out of the mountains, before it gets dark. But bottom line, if you want good flavor, you got to do it right the first time.
I agree. And again, that animal hits the ground, and I think the key is getting your animal skinned quickly, but we can't be in such a race that we don't do it cleanly. Many people also continue to gut animals in the field, and you can do that, and you can do it well without tainting your meat at all. But for the last couple of years, I've really changed over. For about 3 years now, I've changed over to a process that many people call the Alaskan method, and it is a gut method, a non-gutting method of getting your meat out, and you get all your meat, but you never gut the game. You literally,
I've never done it that way.
You go through the entire animal, and you literally take the quarters off of the animal, the back straps, even the inner loins. You can get them from the back of the animal coming behind the last rib, and you do it all without ever gutting the animal. You never open up the entrails.
That's interesting. I've never actually seen that. That was always kind of the big thing is don't break the stomach sac. You don't want that fluid, because then water comes into play. You got to do a lot of cleaning right away.
Right. And that's exactly it, and so what we've adapted to, and again, it's part of hunting the West, is because where we hunt our game a lot of times, you're back in, I know a lot of people still do a lot of driving down the roads and hope to come across game, but people who are serious are getting back in. They're getting further and further away from people and other distractions that come into play and getting where the larger animals are. But really, once it hits the ground, a lot of times you have to quarter it out, especially with an elk, because you're not near a vehicle. You're not near any way to do anything. So it started with the bigger game concept, but now even if I shoot a mule deer that is very close to easy access to a vehicle or getting on, I still usually Alaskan it. I cut it up right there in the field and then take it back to my house in order to deal with that next step.
That's interesting. How do you get past the obviously you have to leave part of it for identification. So, that doesn't affect that in any way? Or?
Well, no, not at all, because you do the same thing. And what you're talking about, Ty, is you have to leave proof of sex in Colorado. It's one of our laws. It's part of the DOW law that we have to follow. And so you can still do that. When you take the quarters off, the hind quarters, you still leave. If it's a male, you still leave the testicles on each side of the hind quarter. No way around that one.
Yeah, I didn't want to say
well,
it.
We had to. We had to. Or if it's a female, you still leave part of the gland attached to each side of the hind quarters, and you can do that while you're quartering it out. It's really a neat scenario. And if people look on YouTube for Alaskan methods or for Alaskan gutting methods, gutless method, they'll find plenty of videos that actually show them just how to do this.
I'll be darned. That's pretty interesting. I'll try that the next time.
Absolutely. Maybe we'll have to go out
I'm
together.
a little old school. I'm like, I was always that. You got to gut that whole thing right there, drag it out, and obviously with elk, I know you had to quarter, but yeah, that's. I'm willing and anxious to try this.
We're going to have to try that one.
Absolutely.
We'll get out there and do a little hunting together, Ty. But the other key is not getting hair when you are skinning that animal. I believe that hair, for some animals more than like antelope, when you get that hair on the hide, it taints the meat. There's no question about it. So you've got to be careful while you're skinning out those quarters in order to remove them, to keep the hair off. And then don't just throw that hind quarter onto the ground. Don't, have some good stuff with you. Have some game bags with you. Set stuff on top. Take your time. Do it clean. Keep the hair off. Keep the dirt off. And you end up with some of the best meat you'll ever have anywhere. The other thing is, once you get it out of the field, you've taken care of your meat. It's clean. It doesn't have a bunch of hair on it, not a bunch of dirt on it. You got to get it to a cooling area. You just do.
Especially for archery, it's so warm right now. That's really key.
Absolutely. And if you can get to a meat cooler, that's ideal. If you want to take it to a local butcher shop here in Grand Junction or wherever you're hunting, that's a good thing too. If you're going to process your own, just get it somewhere cool. And there's a cool product. Sometimes when you're way back in the back country and you can't get out, there's a spray by Wall Hog Wilderness called Meat Saver Spray, and it is incredible. This is a chemical process. You spray your meat, you mix water, you just take it in dry. It's in a spray bottle, but you take it in dry. You add water, mix it up, and then you literally spray the meat with this product, and it inhibits moisture, which can do a lot of damage from staying from getting into the meat, which can bring bacteria, which is the real issue. And it absolutely puts a protective coat on the outside of that meat. And so when you get back, whether it's been a day, 2 days, 3 days in the back country, the tests on this stuff are incredible. When you get back, you just trim your meat like you normally would anyway and take that off. It's not harmful. It's absolutely not harmful to you at all, but you trim it off just so there's no tainted flavor from that, and you're good to go. It actually protects your meat from bacteria, from flies, from issues of moisture. It's incredible. And all the science, you can look that up on Wall Hog Wilderness on their website, and all the science is there behind it. Incredible product. I've got a bottle in my bag, so hopefully we get an elk on the ground here soon and be able to use it and really, really, take care of it. Because again, where I'm at, it's backcountry and you're not getting out in a hurry. And so it's a great way to save that meat because you've worked hard. It's not just about the head and the horns, it's not just about the antlers, depending on species. You worked hard, so you need to to take care of that meat.
Absolutely.
You know, Ty, we have an email from Britt Sleep, and based upon our show on guns and gun safety, he wrote and asked, and we had that show with Shad, the owner of Rocky Mountain Gun Club. He asked, what pistol do you recommend? Even though this wasn't the focus of our show, we did address it.
Right.
What do you recommend for personal defense? He asked, is it 9mm, 380, 41, or 45? Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not a gun expert. I admit that openly.
Yeah, I think it's, having a lot of law enforcement friends, I think any gun is good. I don't think there's a bad one out there. It's just making sure you're properly trained and you're well-versed in the weapon that you have, I think would be the best answer for that.
Absolutely.
The bigger gun doesn't do you any good because you can't conceal it, and a smaller gun is just as damaging and scary to the person on the other end of it.
The noise is the effect.
Exactly.
Well, when we come back, we've got Troy Hawkins of Hawkins Taxidermy in the studio with us, and we're going to talk about the other end of caring for your trophy.
This is the Outdoor Journey Show, where life takes you outdoors. This is the Outdoor Journey Show, where life takes you outdoors. The Outdoor Journey Show with Matt Gaddis and Ty Morgan, brought to you by Journey Hunts and the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
Welcome back to the Outdoor Journey Show. We're here with Matt Gaddis, myself, Ty Morgan, and our special guest, Troy. Now, we're talking taxidermy now. We talked game care. If you are trophy hunting, that maybe you do just lucked into that big bull or that big buck, you want to get it mounted.
I'm about as bad as they come, Ty. I mount just about everything that I shoot, and now it's getting crazy because I've got 3 kids.
You're going to need a second home now.
Yeah, I've got 3 kids. I need an addition just for mounts. But that makes Troy happy, and Troy Hawkins is here with us, and he's my personal taxidermist, and I am an incredibly picky person when it comes to taxidermy. And the reason that I've gone with Hawkins Taxidermy and Troy Hawkins is because of the incredible detail in his work. Troy, you do a fabulous job. You've done a bunch of animals for me, including my life-size mountain goat, and it's been incredible to work with you, man. Tell us about how you got started in taxidermy, Troy.
I've been involved in the outdoors practically my entire life. Growing up, my dad was an outfitter. Now my best friend is an outfitter. Coming up through my teenage years, I had a taxidermist up in Colburn by the name of Gary Swanson. He took me under his wing and kind of showed me everything and gave me everything that I needed to get started in my career. Once I got off to college, I got a job down here in the valley working for a big taxidermy shop, and then late in 2011 I started my own business, and it's been good ever since.
Well, Troy, you mentioned there Gary Swanson. Some of you listening may be familiar with Gary Swanson, the great outdoor artist. I mean, incredible, and he mentored you in that process.
Oh yeah, he helped me do my first mounts, my mountain lion mount. Took me every step of the way, showed me everything. And basically, it was just me walking through a shop one day, and he was mounting a Wolverine. He said, "Hey, come here. I want you to help me with this." And then just told me, "Do this, do this, do this," and that was it. I was hooked from then on. So
it's become a passion and a love. I mean, you love what you do.
Oh yeah, every day. I don't work a day in my life.
Well, it's not a cookie cutter situation. You can't. I mean, every animal has got a different shape, and of course, the mount may be different based on what the person wants. And so you've got to be. You're an artist as it is because you have to create what they're hoping or what that animal was prior to its kill.
Oh yeah, definitely. Every animal has its own unique characteristics, unique features, anything like that. And pictures. It's a huge thing. Even a mule deer or an elk, the general hair patterns, they're all the same. Every animal is unique. They have split ears. I did a deer just a while back. It had a blind eye, and the pictures helped a ton on that.
So pictures is something that we as hunters need to do when we're in the field. Take pictures, detailed up-close pictures of the animal for you. But what other things can we as hunters do to be prepared once we've harvested that animal in the field? What can we do to help you on your end, help to make it a great mount?
That is the most common question I get no matter what. It doesn't matter whether it's you're at the truck, you're in a hayfield, or you're 2-3 miles back in there. It doesn't matter. All the steps are the same. First and foremost, like you said in your previous segment, you have to get that skinned and cleaned and cooled as soon as possible. That goes for meat, and that goes for the hair and the skin as well. And make sure your cuts are clean and in the right spot, basically. If you're going to do a shoulder mount, go clean, straight line right down the back, and don't get into the armpit. And then lay that skin open. Lay it out so it's skin up and it's cool to the touch. Once it's cool to the touch, then you can fold it up, pack it out, throw it in the back of the truck, whatever you're going to do with it. Don't let it dry out. That's that's not good. It doesn't help me. It doesn't help the tannery. It doesn't help the whole process along. And it kind of helps that bacteria get in that hair. And once that hair starts to slip, it's gone. We can't do anything with it. It's got to be a new cape, and that can be, if it's your kid's first deer, elk, and that cape slips, that's that piece of that animal gone.
Wow, so there's some detail that needs to be paid attention to. You're talking about making clean cuts. Mm-hmm. So now we're talking about equipment. You got to have a sharp knife. You got to do things well.
Oh yeah, sharp knife is step one. And for elk, I just went on a successful backpack hunt this last weekend. I know how tough it is. Those elk skins they're tough. But along the back, the biggest thing that happens, when you're out there by yourself, way back there, that bull's laying on his side, you can't roll him by yourself. So you're going to kind of jigsaw cut it, and it's going to be like a puzzle piece when I'm trying to put it back together. Just keep that in mind. And I'm pretty lenient with people. Do whatever's easier for you. That's what I tell everybody. And if it means cutting it down the side a little bit, that's fine. I'll make it work, but just don't cut pieces off. Don't make it a jigsaw puzzle. Think of me when you're trying to skin that thing out.
So if you're new, for example, let's just say you've never had a mount, you go out on a hunt, and you're with somebody else who's never done it either. Would you recommend to that person, since they're not sure where to actually get the right cuts, to cut it deeper, a bigger section so you have room to work with? Or how would you handle that kind of situation or advise people to do?
Definitely. We can always trim it. You can't add the hide once it's cut off. I always say for a shoulder mount, go midsection and cut all the way around the animal. That gives me, 2 foot too much hide, but that's perfect. That way I can trim it. If you decide to do a pedestal, it's perfect. If you end up making a mistake or there's a huge bullet hole, it doesn't matter. Then there's enough hide. We can fix it and make it hide and look great for you.
What's the most common error, Troy, that you see from people bringing in their game to you, bringing in their trophy to you?
The most common would be spoilage and wrong cuts. Spoilage is basically, it could be anything. Even the guys that bring the Europeans, it drives me nuts. They'll throw it in the back of their pickup, and they want to go show it off. I really don't blame them. But even the Europeans, the sooner you get it to me, the better it's going to turn out. The whiter it's going to be, the nicer, the cleaner it's going to look, and the faster I can get it to you too. If it dries out or gets rotten, then I have to do all these extra steps, and it doesn't look as good.
Well, your European program is excellent. Tell the people about your European program, because you turn them around quick and it's fairly inexpensive.
Oh yeah, we have some of the cheapest Europeans around here in the valley, and what we do is we do boil, but we take extra care. We just do a low simmer. We don't boil them to where the skulls just fall apart. I've never had that happen. What we do is we offer a 24-hour service on our Europeans. It's a little more expensive, but for all you out-of-state hunters or guys that want to get it right now, that's what we offer. And what I do is within 24 hours of when you get it to me, I will guarantee that it is going to be dried, whitened. The horns are going to be, you'll get them all muddy and bloody and nasty. I'll clean them up and I'll make them look great for you. And that'll all be done within 24 hours.
Yeah, and I have probably, I'm just thinking in my head, I probably have 6 or 7 Europeans on my wall that you've done. And folks, I got to tell you, Troy Hawkins does things right at Hawkins Taxidermy. You're going to love your European.
One thing we offer too with the Europeans is it is a skull. It's porous. They get dirty. They yellow. They do things over time that it's just natural. It's nothing wrong with how it was done. It doesn't matter if it's beetle cleaned, boiled. It doesn't matter. Eventually that skull is going to age. And what we do is, bring it in after a year or two when they get all dirty and grimy. You hang it in your kitchen and they get all that grease in that bone. Bring it in, we'll degrease it, we'll re-whiten it, we'll make it look brand new for you. And all we do is we charge an hourly rate, and it's less than an hour to clean it up usually.
Perfect. Troy, tell us what separates you from other taxidermists, and why should our listeners consider Hawkins Taxidermy for their trophy care?
Well, first and foremost is something that I pride myself on is quality. Every year I compete in multiple state taxidermy competitions to better myself as a taxidermist, as an outdoorsman, and learn better and newer techniques from other taxidermists. I do the Utah and Colorado one every year, and some of the stuff I learn just blows my mind, and it's so cool that I get to learn that and pass it on to my customers and give them that quality of a mount. Not only that, I get to see where I rank, and I get to go around and meet some of the best taxidermists in the country. They show me what I'm doing right, and they show me what I'm doing wrong. I get to learn and better myself. Second, I'd say price. Around the valley, taxidermy, it is expensive. It's an investment, and that's how it should be looked at. And some of our prices are just perfect for people, and we're very flexible on our payment plans. It doesn't matter if you pay it all up front, you pay it all when it's finished up. It doesn't matter. We do really good payment plans. If you want to do a monthly payment plan for that life-size bear, perfect. We'll get that finished up for you. And the turnaround time. Our average turnaround time on shoulder mounts right now is anywhere from 6 to 8 months. And life sizes and rugs is under a year. That's almost unheard of, especially around here.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you're getting something before a year, you've made great progress. And I've had stuff back from you, Troy, in 6 months and less, and that's just absolutely fabulous. What do people need to know about Hawkins Taxidermy? How do they get a hold of you? How do they find you? What do they do to get in touch with you?
Oh, just about anywhere. We're on Facebook. We have a website, and we're always just around. My shop is at my house. I'm there 24 hours a day. My shop hours are 8 to 6, but just call me, set up an appointment, and you can get a hold of me. Our number is listed on our website and our Facebook page as well. Just ask around. You'll find me. My brochures are over at, they're at Jerry's Outdoor Sports. They're at Sportsman's, and they're out at Orchard Mesa Meats.
Very good, very good. Troy, and if people want to find you, you can also go to JourneyHunts.com, folks, and there's a link right on there for Hawkins Taxidermy. Make sure you take a look and do that. Troy, tell us the craziest thing you've ever mounted. Let's just end up the show with that.
Oh, man. It could be just about anything. I had a giraffe in the shop a while back, and I'd say that was the craziest thing just because of the size and just how huge the project overall was. Probably the wildest thing, and I have it in the shop right now. It's going to be there for a couple more weeks, but I have 2 life-size jackalopes, and I never would have thought of it, but somebody wanted it, and it actually looks pretty cool. I'm not going to lie.
He's excited. Yeah, this is going to go off as a real animal.
Well, my nephew, it kind of ruined him. He didn't think jackalopes were real, and he came in the shop the other day.
And thought, oh, maybe there is something out there.
Yeah, so now he wants to go jackalope hunting
Yeah,
right
I
now.
bet. Everybody wants to go jackalope hunting. That was our trick in high school. Let's take you jackalope hunting. Yeah, didn't quite work out. Well, thanks again for coming by today, and certainly I've learned a lot just about taxidermy in itself. And if you ever have a question, too, you can certainly email Matt at JourneyHunts.com. Of course, we give away knives if we pull your email out of the hunting bag, and we read it here on the air, and we appreciate everybody listening to the show. And we look forward to chatting with you next week here on the Outdoor Journey Show, where life takes you outdoors.
This is the Outdoor Journey Show, where life takes you outdoors.